I would like to officially welcome everyone to the West Seneca East graduation for the class of 2018. At this time, I would like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies this evening, Ryu Dorn. Ryu. Ryu is third in our class and has a GPA of 99.695.
Thank you, Mr. Winicky. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the members of the Board of Education and Central Office staff. As I call your name to be recognized, please stand and remain standing until all names are called. Mrs. Carol Jarzik, President of the Board of Education. Mrs. Janice Dalbo, Vice President of the Board of Education. Mr. Edward Bedient, Trustee. Mrs. Diane Bears, who is unable to be here tonight. Mrs. Mary Bussey, Trustee. Mrs. Kate Newton, Trustee. Mrs. Gwendolyn Phillips, Trustee, who is unable to be here with us tonight. Mr. Jason Winicky, Principal at East Senior. Mr. Paul Renzoni, Assistant Principal at East Senior. Mrs. Mary Beth Sweeney, Assistant Principal at East Senior. Mr. Matthew Bystrick, Superintendent. Dr. Jonathan Cerrone, Assistant Superintendent for Administrative Purposes. Mrs. Carmelina Persico, Assistant Superintendent for Educational Operations. Mr. Jonathan Dalbo, Chief Information Officer and Director for Instructional Technology and Social Studies. Mrs. Kim McCartan, Principal at Clinton Street Elementary. Please be seated. I would now like to introduce Catherine Dixon to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Trojan Nation. Please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please remain standing while our chamber chorus performs the Star Spangled Banner.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Will all members of Class 2018 who have joined the Armed Services please rise to be recognized? Thank you for choosing to serve our country and defend our freedom. Tegan Shanahan, a class officer, will now lead us in the invocation.
Will you please bow your heads with me? Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our individual beliefs. Let us ask for blessings upon the class of 2018. Give us grace to make a difference for the good, wherever we may find ourselves in the years ahead. For those who will pursue further education, grant not only the knowledge we need in our chosen fields, but also the wisdom to apply that knowledge to life as it really is. For those who will be going directly into the workforce, give a sense of what is right and good and appropriate in often confusing issues we will face. For those in the military service, may they draw courage and strength from you. May they serve our country and all humanity with integrity and honor. For all those graduates and the families of which they are a part, we ask that they may make a significant contribution to the general welfare of society. May we especially be blessed for those who we have personally touched in our lives. Creator of life and sustainer of all things, we ask for your almighty hand and upon all those who graduate today. Bless our lives from this day on with goodness and love. Help us stay true to our dreams, to use our gifts wisely, and to walk in the future with faith, hope, and great love. Amen.
Thank you, Tegan. At this time, I would like to call Mr. Winicki to the podium and ask him to say a few words.
Good evening, class of 2018. I'm honored to have the opportunity to address you as you conclude your journey at East Senior High School. Tonight, you'll have the pleasure of hearing from our superintendent, Board of Education president, your class council, the Salutatorian, and the Valedictorian. I've had an opportunity to hear your classmates' speeches several times, and I feel privileged to share the stage with them as they offer you their thoughts and reflections as you begin the next chapter of your lives. To our parents, families, friends, and guests, tonight you will notice graduates with a variety of different colored cords, stoles, and medals, signifying an array of accomplishments. Congratulations to all of our graduates on their collective and individual accomplishments. To our seniors, I began thinking about what I would say to you about 6 months ago. How can anyone sum up everything they want to say to 260 graduates in just a few minutes? And as I reflected on this, my thoughts kept returning to a poem I had read in college. It was written back in 1915 by John McCrae, a Canadian soldier and physician in World War I. His poem is titled "In Flanders Fields," and in it he writes, "To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high." And while McCrae was writing to the next generation of soldiers, the symbolism and meaning of this line couldn't be more of a powerful allegory for what lies ahead for all of you as the future leaders of the world. You've already accomplished so much, and while you celebrate all of that tonight, I know you are all aware of the awesome responsibility that your future holds. For thousands of years, the torch has symbolized enlightenment, hope, knowledge, and life. And from the moment you were born, you've been getting ready for this moment. You've been learning how to carry the torch. When you sat in your parents' lap and first learned to recognize and then read along with the words, "I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I will not eat them in a house, and I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am." And with that, your parents not only taught you how to read, but that you should give new things a chance. After all, it turns out the unnamed speaker in that story actually does like green eggs and ham. You might not realize it, but the lessons you learned from Dr. Seuss, the Berenstain Bears, and countless other characters were part of the way your families began to lay the foundation of what has made you who you are today. Since then, you've learned to set goals, make a plan to achieve it, and then create a plan B if things didn't go just as you planned. And whether you began to figure that out on a sports field, during music lessons, or reading Harry Potter and the Hunger Games, you started to become more adept at learning to deal with the constantly changing circumstances that life sends at you every day. More importantly, your parents stood by you through all of this, whether the life lessons were easy to learn or hard to take, and they supported you, hugged you, and loved you. They let you cry on their shoulder and then encouraged you to try again. Because oftentimes the weather of life gets real stormy and you need help to hold the torch. During your time at East, you learned to take calculated risks. You challenged yourselves with an AP class or began to learn the craft of welding. You tried out for a sport you had never played or decided to create and lead a school-wide event. And though your family still was there to support you, you were the one who now had to do the hard work necessary to achieve success. And as challenging as things got, you learned that the most rewarding things are supposed to be hard to accomplish. That's why we celebrate with Cone King after a school concert, an honor cord or a stole at an academy ceremony, or why we gather here tonight in this auditorium. We celebrate the fact that you are ready. You see, whether you're heading to college or the workforce, whether you're going to trade school or heading off to basic training to defend our nation, you now have the responsibility to hold the torch by yourself. It will certainly not be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is. And you may even drop it a time or two. When that happens, you just need to stop, reach down, and lift up the torch again. It has been an honor and a privilege for me to share 4 years with you at East Senior. I know that you all will accomplish great things during the coming years, and I hope you let us know about all of your successes. We've come to know you, and we're proud of you. The world will be a better and brighter place because of all the light you will bring to it. The torch is yours to hold now. Hold it high, class of 2018. Hold it high. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winicki. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you tonight the Superintendent of the West Seneca Central School District, Mr. Matthew Bystrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Winicki, I absolutely love your message. I love the speech. So very nicely done there. So I'll start off by saying, as a proud graduate of the West Seneca Schools, it's a great honor for me to be here this evening. Tonight as our seniors transform from students to graduates. High school graduation is a significant accomplishment in the lives of our students, but as well as their families, whose support and guidance has no doubt played a critical role in enabling our students to be here this evening. This ceremony marks one of the most meaningful milestones in the lives of our students to this point, and I'd like to thank those present with us for being here tonight. And I'm going to go on to say that the educational system as a whole, I think, is much better, much more effective when our schools, our families, our communities work together in concert to provide an enriching educational experience for our students. And this evening wouldn't be possible. These students wouldn't be here tonight without this collaboration. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our teachers, our administrators, our support staff, our Board of Education, our families, our community businesses and organizations for all of their support and all their tireless devotion to our students. We just can't do it alone. We need to be a partnership. So to our seniors, one thing that has been true and always will be true about this time in your lives is that people older than you are going to feel compelled to give you advice and talk to you about the realizations that you're going to have in the future. I can tell you I'm about to lay a fair amount of it on you tonight, so get ready for it. But two thoughts on this advice. I'm just going to tell you. Know, number one, that it comes from a good place, from people who care about you, who've in many cases watched you grow up. And number two, I would strongly recommend that you hang on to it somewhere. Even if the words don't really resonate with you right now or don't mean a whole lot right now, in the future they may actually mean something different for you. So over the past few weeks in West Seneca, we have a lot of different things that sort of mark the end of the school year. There's various graduations from academy programs, different concerts, baccalaureate, all kinds of great things that happen here. And I've had the chance to talk to a number of our seniors about their plans for after graduation. And I can tell you, I mean, there's some pretty impressive plans. We're doing some pretty great things here over the next few years. But I think what impresses me most, or what's most interesting to me, it's not the plans themselves, but it's how our students went about developing those plans. As individuals, we carry around with us all of the experiences that have shaped us to this point in our lives. These experiences involve peaks and valleys, and the fact that you, our students, are here today is a testament to your resilience, as no doubt you have faced some degree of adversity in your lives. Whether you realize how significant it was, at the time or not is really irrelevant. You've all been through some stuff, basically, and you're here. To the seniors in this room, I'm going to promise you that there have been times in your lives that you've even shown your families, your parents, that you were stronger than they ever imagined you could be. There were times when you exceeded their expectations for what you could accomplish. I have 2 daughters at home myself, 2 little girls, Sophia and Violet, 8 and 10 years old. Sophia is my 10-year-old, actually, and watching her learn to ride her bike for the first time back, a few years ago. And, Sophia has a little bit of the flair for the dramatic, and I'm probably underselling that a little bit, but she fell off her bike. First time I ever watched her take a real good spill, good scrape and everything, but she popped right back up, which shocked me, and she just kept going. A couple things happened there. Not only did I underestimate her physical toughness, but more importantly, I underestimated how badly she wanted to ride that bike. It's a pretty hard X factor to measure, somebody else's determination, somebody else's desire. You can guess, but really, the individual may not even realize just how badly they wanted something. Because I guarantee if I would have told Sophie, hey, you're going to fall tonight before we went out to ride the bike, I don't know that she would have even gone, to be honest with you. But there she was doing it, and she just got right back on the bike. So my hope for you, our seniors, our graduates here tonight, is that you have a very long life ahead of you that's full of tons and tons of bikes that you want to ride. So now I'm going to stay with the bike riding analogy just for a moment here. But I will say that I think in our lives we tend to spend quite a bit of time as Monday morning quarterbacks when we do fall off the bike, when something doesn't go our way. We spend quite a bit of time saying, hey, what happened there? We replay a whole series of events in our mind. And basically what led up to this failure or this perceived failure, so that we can avoid making those mistakes in the future. And I'm not going to for a minute suggest that that's a bad thing. It's great. We should always engage in thoughtful reflection and ask ourselves, what happened? Why is it that things didn't go the way I want them to go? But I'm going to argue that it is equally as important that you engage in that sort of self-evaluation, that self-reflection at moments like this, at times of success. What did you do? What happened that made this possible? And this is a perfect opportunity. I think the issue is that we don't do this enough. I think we tend to just focus when something bad happens, okay, what made that happen? And like I said, that's a good thing, but I think we need to do it now, because when things do get tough, that's when you draw upon the things that helped you to find success earlier in your life. So whether you're reflecting on something that's positive or something that didn't go your way, I would always encourage you to ask yourself, how much control did I have over this situation that happened? There is obviously a limit to what we can control in our lives. Don't make any mistakes about that. But what I'm going to tell you that there's a whole idea that it exists on a spectrum from things that you have absolutely no control over, like the weather, whether the Bills make the playoffs, things like that, to things that you do have some degree of control over. What you're going to eat for breakfast, what you watch on television. So I think the whole idea, what I'm getting at here is it's called locus of control. All right, the locus of control. Someone with an internal locus of control tends to feel as though he or she is, pretty much driving the bus or riding the bike for that matter. They're in control. These people tend to feel that they can shape the events in the world around them to some extent. They feel responsible for their successes, but also for their failures. And someone with an external locus of control, so that's the opposite. This person's a little bit more of a passenger on that bus. They typically feel pretty powerless, and I got to tell you, they oftentimes attribute some of their failures to, well, this happened, so that's why I wasn't successful at that. And even in some cases, unfortunately, they don't even take ownership for the successes that they have. As with most things in life, I'm going to tell you it's probably not good to be too extreme in either direction, but I'm going to tell you the happiest people that I know are the ones that are camped out pretty firmly in the internal locus of control side of things. These are the people that are driving the bus. These are people that feel as though they do have some degree of control over what goes on in their lives, some ability to be able to make things happen for themselves and be able to respond to adversity when it presents itself. You're going to find that the mere act of taking an honest look in the mirror is very empowering, all right? And it's going to enable you to have a greater degree of that control. So just a quick story for you here. So about 20 years ago, a little less than 20 years ago, my wife, who was not my wife at the time, although she didn't know it, but she really wanted to be. So very intelligent woman, and that'll come into play in a little bit. But it's New Year's Eve, and it's in the afternoon, and I'm having some people over because it's New Year's Eve, or a party, and her responsibility was to bring some food. So she loves shrimp cocktail a lot. So she goes and gets her father's cooler from what I'm guessing is 1945. And this cooler, I'm pretty certain, was made by some branch of the military because it's metal and it weighs about 30 pounds empty. And it's got this fake wood panel on top of it. We still have the cooler in the family. It's around. But anyway, it's a very big, heavy cooler. So she's got it in the back seat of her car. It's filled with ice, shrimp and cocktail sauce. And she stopped at a stoplight. That's what you do at a stoplight. You stop. So she's sitting there, and a delivery van comes up from behind and smacks into her. And the cooler goes flying and hits her in the head, which is not good. She's okay. She's okay. A little concussed, but okay overall. But she's covered in shrimp cocktail sauce. You're all thinking the same thing. She's covered in red shrimp cocktail sauce. So the guy, the delivery van driver, who by all rights is probably a pretty nice guy, jumps out of this van, sees her, and the dashboard and the windshield covered in cocktail sauce. He thinks he's done something even worse than he imagined. There's just red everywhere. So she's like, no, I'm okay. And he explains what happens. The guy is overly apologetic. I'm so sorry. I just didn't see it, whatever it was. They work things out. But a few days later, now again, I mentioned my wife is a very intelligent person. She's probably more intelligent than I am. I'm going to say that. And if we could just keep the fact that I just told the 2,000 of you that in this room, because she's going to lord that over me, that I admitted to that. But anyway, she's trying to go back in Monday morning quarterback. She said, wow, what could I have done to avoid this car accident? And I'm telling her, there's nothing you could have done to avoid a car accident. You're stopped at a stoplight. The guy hit you from behind. But she doesn't give up that easily. So I'm like, I'm going to indulge this. I'll play along. All right, so let's say you looked in the rearview mirror at the last minute. You could have driven through the light. Well, you're probably going to get T-boned, and that's not going to be good. I even went so far as to say, well, you could have jumped out of the car at the last minute, but now you're standing in the middle of an intersection, and that's probably not going to end well either. So we come to the conclusion, I help her to come to the conclusion, you could not have avoided the accident. But I will tell you, there is never a time when she has a big, heavy object in the back of her car that's not tied down. Internal locus of control, folks, all right? This is a person who said, I got to find some way to sort of have an influence on my environment. And nope, sometimes bad things happen, but what can I do to mitigate some of those bad things? And I would even argue that even if she didn't come up with that conclusion, the fact that she asked the question, if you don't ask the question, what could I have done differently in a situation? You're never going to get the answer. And nobody would have blamed her if she just would have walked away from that, said, that guy's a bad driver, and life goes on. No one would have ever said, you need to examine that and see if there's any way you could have avoided that. My wife's a pretty happy person. I like to think I have a lot to do with that. I don't know if that's true or not, but internal locus of control, just keep that in mind to our students. Keep that in mind. You have more power than you realize. You are in more control of what happens around you than you realize. So, in speaking with my colleagues and friends in education as well as the world outside of our schools, I am finding these days that one character trait seems to be in high demand. Whether it's an employer, even in friendship, people want to see this, and that's the character trait of humility. It's the idea. Humility is the idea that we do what we do for the love of doing it, or because it has to be done, and not for any sort of recognition. Not for people to be able to say, hey, wow, look at this guy or look at that girl. It's just you do something because, it has to be done or you love doing it. It's about seeing ourselves as part of a community and being able to be of service to others. It's about holding yourself accountable and being fully committed to remedying a situation when you have made a misstep. We cannot be so concerned with protecting ourselves, our image, that we fail to do what is right in the process. I remember somebody telling me the one time that, they were afraid to make a move, and I've been there myself, and to think about it, I'm afraid to do this because I'm afraid of how it's going to look. Well, if it's the right thing, you just have to go ahead and suck it up and do it. You're going to make mistakes in life, I promise you that, and I'm not the first person to tell you that, and this isn't you've experienced this before. But what I will tell you is that if you hold yourself accountable and you work in earnest to try to remedy whatever the situation is, fix whatever it is, the people around you, they're going to support you. Part of that, though, is holding your head high and being able to let people know, hey, I'm taking responsibility. We got to be able to fix this, all right? People are going to support you. They're going to have your back. And what's more, you're going to be modeling for them what you would expect from them. So another aspect of humility is being able to recognize the world for all of its grayness. Now, Mr. Winnicki touched on this a little bit in his remarks, the whole idea of you're not always going to be able to see the end. You're going to have to sometimes kind of write the story yourself as you go. And I'm telling you, by this point in your lives, I don't think this is a new concept to any of you. All right, by this point in your lives, I think that you've all come to sort of understand to some degree that so many of the issues that we face, so many of the tough decisions that you face, they kind of live in those little spaces in between the rules that we set as a society. We say, this is the rule, but here's a few circumstances that might make it that we have to look maybe in another direction. So this gray area, as I like to call it, forces us to examine our values and our beliefs. And really, we have to make use of wisdom, whatever wisdom that we've acquired through the years of our existence. And there does seem to be a correlation. I'm going to say this, folks. There does seem to be a correlation between the number of years that one has spent on earth and the amount of wisdom that he or she possesses, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. It doesn't just naturally come with age. I think true wisdom, at least in my experience, only comes to those people who are willing to put information into context. You have to seek to understand the perspectives of other people, because what makes sense in one situation may make absolutely no sense in another situation. And in the coming years, I can promise you that you're going to be faced with more and more of these gray areas and on an increasingly larger scale. You're not in a high school anymore where people are going to say, this is the rule. You're going to have to make some decisions for yourself. And the good news here, guys, is you're prepared to do this. I can tell you that you're prepared to do this. But you're, in many cases, going to be working with some of the safety nets that you're accustomed to having, your teachers, your parents. And I think my advice to you there would just be to continue to utilize those people where and when you can. But in the end, you've got to trust yourself that you can make a good decision, that you can make adjustments if things don't go well. They're not always going to go well, but you have to be able to trust yourself. I have known people in my life, I do know people in my life that can't make a decision without having every last detail. If you don't know this already, I'm going to tell you right now, the world doesn't usually wait, okay? You're going to miss out on opportunities. All right, at a certain point, you've got enough information, you have to make a decision and act and trust yourself that you're going to be able to sort of feel your way through some of that gray area. There's a great quote, all right? Amy Poehler, Saturday Night Live, Parks and Recreation, she's great. She's an actress, she's a comedian, I love her. She has this great quote. It says, it's great people do things before they are completely ready. I'll say it one more time. Great people do things before they're completely ready. So I like this quote so much because it just reminds me that we are almost always more capable than we realize, all right? Don't believe me, go talk to your parents about they bringing their first newborn home from the hospital, all right? Go home tonight, do that, all right? Parents, I'm seeing some nodding heads up there, all right? When this happened to me, my daughter Sophia, 10 years old, 10 years ago, I asked the nurse, are you coming with us? I mean, is this, are you sure you're supposed to give her to me? I can barely get the car seat to fit. I could swaddle. I was a good swaddler. I could swaddle a baby in no time flat. I could change a diaper in under 10 seconds. I had some of the technical side of things down, but I couldn't predict everything that was going to happen, and it was really scary. Yet Sophia's out there today doing pretty well, riding bikes. She's pretty happy, all right? So you guys can do this, all right? You can work through some of this gray area. So, all right, I'm going to ask our seniors here to think to you. Just for a second, indulge me here, okay? Just for a moment, imagine that I'm speaking to just you. All right? Nobody else. We're having a conversation in a coffee shop, probably at Tim Hortons. All right? There are about 12 or 13 of them I just passed coming here tonight. All right? I want you to think back and see if there's a time in your lives that you can remember that somebody said, hey, don't worry about it. You're free of all expectations, all right? We don't expect you to be a good citizen, okay? Think back hard, all right? That time probably never existed in your lives. We have always, our society, our community has always expected you to be caring, hardworking, kind to others, respectful of others. We've always had that expectation, and we all meet those expectations to some degree, all right? But it's always been there. Whether you're at home, school, in Wegmans, whatever it was, you're expected to do this. You're expected to conduct yourself in a manner reflective of the values of our community, of our society. And with each passing year, these expectations have grown. When you were 5 years old, you didn't have the same expectations placed on you as you did when you were 7 or 8 or 9, all right? But I'm going to tell you that you're going to take a little bit of a super step after tonight, okay? That increase in expectation is going to take a much larger leap. Because high school graduation, if you don't already know this, which I think you do, but it's viewed as a transition into adulthood in our society. And that comes with some added responsibility. More good news. I'm pretty sure that all of you in this room have already begun to assume some of those responsibilities, so it's not going to be a total culture shock. More now than ever before in your life, it's going to be important for you to consider the impact your actions will have on the world outside of the reach of your arms. You are more than just a role model to the children of our community. You are also their protector, their guardians. Please take that seriously, because if you do, if every single decision you make, the big decisions that you make, if you consider and ask yourself, what impact is this going to have on those younger than me, the children of our community, and is it going to be a good thing or a bad thing for them? Well, some of those tough decisions that live in that gray area, they're going to become a little more clear for you. All right? Now more than ever, your worth. Thanks. Thank you. I can tell you some of that added pressure that you're ready for is, but your worth is going to be measured by how much good you can do for society. It's not enough to sit back. It's not enough just to exist. You actually have to do something. You have to be an active participant in our society if you want the respect that I know that you want. All right? The world's never going to be a perfect place, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't stop trying to make it so. We can do this, folks. All right? It's this sort of aspirational thinking that has led to some of our greatest accomplishments, some of our greatest achievements. All right? We need your help with this. All right? I'm not asking you. I'm telling you we need your help with this. All right? We think you're up to the task. You wouldn't be sitting here tonight. All right? It's not easy to graduate from East Senior High School. You've done that. You're ready for this. You're going to make the world a better place, as Mr. Winicki said. I couldn't say it any better. Congratulations, folks. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Welcome our chamber chorus once again to perform Be More Kind.
History's been leaning on me lately. I can feel the future breathing down my neck. All these things I thought were true when I was young and you were too, turned out to be broken. And I don't know what comes next in a world that has decided that it's going to lose its mind. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. They've started raising walls around the world now, like hackles raised up on a cornered cat. On the borders in our heads, between the things that can and can't be said, we've stopped talking to each other, and there's something wrong with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to present to you tonight Mrs. Carol Jarzik, President of West Seneca School Board of Education.
Welcome, everybody. I always feel bad because, hi, students. We have some behind us, obviously. We are here today to celebrate you and all of you. And today's your day. Don't let anybody take that away from you or tell you different. It's your day. You alone, 2018 graduates of West Seneca East High School. This is our 49th commencement. Next year, big 50. Wow. The future is yours. It's not a distant reality anymore. It begins today, begins here. Reach high. You can do whatever you want to do in life. Be proud of all that you have done so far. Remember your years at East with pride, dignity, humility, humor, respect, and kindness. I'm sure you have many stories to share from your last 4 years at East Senior. You began high school as children, but you're leaving here as young adults. You have completed a basic education that will serve as the platform you will use to launch yourselves into your futures. Some of you will go on to college, others will go straight into the workforce, some will join the military, but each of you will travel your very own path. No matter where you go or what you do, there are challenges ahead of all of you, as you've heard from Mr. Winnicki and Mr. Bystrack. What I'm asking for each of you is to meet those challenges straight on, head first. Hold your head high and your heart wide open. It's not enough to simply try to get by in life. That doesn't move the world forward. You must try to excel in everything you do as you did at East Senior. Strive for excellence in every task, large or small. There's no task that's too small. Although it may not be easy to see, every accomplishment you achieve is added to the world's accomplishments. Your individual successes benefit society as a whole because when you succeed, you lighten the burden on your fellow man or woman. When you succeed, you are in a position to give rather than take. Try to find your true passion in life. If you're lucky enough to find work that takes you to what makes you passionate, you will realize you've never really worked a day in your life because you've loved what you've done. You may not have the power to inspire the entire world to strive for success, but you do have the power to try to achieve it for yourselves. My challenge to each of you is to do all that you can do to reach your full potential. If each member of the West Seneca East class of 2018 is able to do that, just imagine the effect you will all have on the world. The world is truly in your hands, so let's make the most of it. We on the Board of Education always love to challenge any of you that would like to come back after graduation, go to Mr. Bystrick's office. Don't go on the same day, but please share with him and us where you've gone, what you've done. We'd love to hear from you. So on behalf of the Board of Education, we wish you only the best for the future. Go out, conquer, be the best that you can be kind and respectful, enjoy life, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Jarzik. Michelle Lynn is our salutatorian, has a GPA of 99.888. Mr. Winnicki. Mr. Winnicki, please recognize our salutatorian at this time. Congratulations.
Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to Chloe Burns for her help. Good evening, class of 2018. We did it. We accomplished a major milestone in our lives. We worked hard for this day to come, but this is only the beginning of our lives. People often call high school the greatest years of their life, but I like to think this isn't our peak. There are even better things to come to our lives after high school. The scariest moment is always just before you start. After that, things can only get better. This quote was said by Stephen King. After today, we are about to embark upon our journeys. Even though it may be scary at first, everything will eventually work out. I think all of the students can relate that procrastination has made things seem impossible. What's funny is that we always manage to get it done, although our teachers hate procrastination. In this sense, procrastination is scary, but what gets better is the outcome of any project or homework that we do. This is just like life. Life will be scary being out in the real world, but there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. I hope everyone will be able to find their own paths in life no matter what you decide to do. We are now independent, and this is the time we find ourselves. Even though there may be challenges on the road ahead, we can overcome them to achieve our dreams. We all have so much potential that has yet to be harnessed. I want to express my gratitude to everyone that has aided our journey to succeed. To our teachers, thank you for your time, attention, and knowledge. You sacrificed your time to be with your family to give us extra help. You made us feel welcome in your classrooms and demanded excellence out of us, so we would strive to be the best versions of ourselves. Also, I want to thank the custodial staff for making our school a clean and safe learning environment. Thank you to our principal, vice principals, and advising staff for all their guidance and efforts to help us. To thank our families for all their unconditional love and support that they gave us. Lastly, I thank you all, the class of 2018, for your part in my journey. Although I know some better than others, you all completed my high school experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Our fellow classmates and class council officers will now offer our class thank you. Please welcome Sydney Briggs and Haley Olonijek.
On behalf of the West Seneca East Senior Class of 2018, we would like to begin by thanking our teachers, coaches, mentors, and administration who have helped us succeed on the road to today. As kids, most of us always dreamt of graduation day and pictured ourselves and classmates walking the stage. But we never stopped to realize how fast it was actually come until we were sitting here in this exact spot. From grade school to middle school to now, we have only grown on our journey to this very day. We would also like to thank our parents, grandparents, families, and friends, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. They have done nothing but support us and guide us through every bump in the road that it took for us to get here, pushing us to achieve anything and everything we put our minds to, and believing in every goal we set for ourselves. Attending every sporting event, concert, and ceremony. We couldn't have made it to this spot without the endless love, encouragement, and support from all of you.
The credit is also due to our advisors, teachers who have helped us get through this crucial time, an important place in our lives. They have gone above and beyond, providing us with so many possibilities and opportunities, some of which may have gone unnoticed. Everyone can look back and remember a special teacher or teachers that have inspired us and pushed us to do our best. Two teachers that come to my mind is Miss Kruger and Ms. Lysak, two wonderful ladies that have spent hours tirelessly working with us and never complaining. We should all thank them for our homecomings, proms, and other school events, which they organized and made sure were memorable for us to remember and look back on. With this said, we'd like to present them with these gifts from Class Council, with Tegan Shanahan and Katie Dixon.
Mrs. Kruger and I would like to thank the class of 2018 for your spirit and enthusiasm. We appreciated all of your energy and participation at our events this year. Parents, thank you for your support. It has been our pleasure to work with the class officers. Being a class officer is not easy and is a lot of work. Class officers, Sydney Briggs, Tegan Shanahan, Katie Dixon, and Haley Olenishek, please stand to be recognized for your efforts. Thank you for your dedication. There is a token of appreciation under your seats.
Thank you, Mrs. Lysak. I would now like to introduce our valedictorian, my good friend, Devin Murphy. Devin's overall GPA is 101.172. Mr. Winicki, please join us.
Thank you, Ryu. I'd like to start off by asking everyone in the room to give my fellow classmates another round of applause. The end. Guys, we've survived. Like physically, you know, like our bodies are still intact. Mentally and emotionally, maybe not so much, but that's what therapy is for. All joking aside, for these past 4 years, a lot of us really have had a lot on our plate. We've often found it hard to say no to appetizers and entrees of classes, jobs, internships, volunteer work, musicals, or sports teams. And so much so that a lot of the time we've hardly left room for dessert. You know, the things you need to do to be a functional human being, like sleeping and showering and stuff. Our families, our teachers, and our friends want the best for us, so they're telling us to gobble down every opportunity thrown our way. And a lot of the time, out of fear that the opportunities won't come again and we'll starve to death, we listen to them. After 4 years of engorging ourselves, we haven't had the time to digest. So, I think digesting is exactly what today is for. I was doing some research the other day, and it turns out that the average human will walk through precisely 600,000 doors in their lifetime. I totally made that number up, but you all believed me because we use doors so often. We use them all the time, both literally and metaphorically, and we think they're fantastic. And it makes sense to use doors, right? We've got relatively short lives to live. We think to ourselves, there's no use staying in this room when it's full of homework and relationship problems and a heating system that only works 2 days out of the entire year. So we use the first door we can find, move on to the next room as quickly as we can, and call it progress. But when it comes to education, there are two problems with this way of thinking. One is that we fail to realize that the door can work both ways, and any of our problems with the last room we were in can creep up behind us and catch us off guard at any given moment. The room we're moving to is likely to have its own trials and tribulations, so if we don't confront those in the room we're currently in, they're likely gonna just follow us to the next one. At some point, there will be a room that's too small to fit all of our problems from previous ones, and there's a good chance we'll start to feel claustrophobic. The second problem is that we neglect anything in the room we're leaving that might have been of use to us. As we're all getting ready to leave high school, a pretty big room in my opinion, this is the problem I've been thinking about recently. When I look back at all the rooms I visited in high school, I see some that have definitely changed my life, like the music department here at East. But I also see many rooms that I've neglected. Friendships I could have made but didn't, teachers I could have talked to more often, questions I could have asked but never did. For those of us who are going away to college, there's a statistic that says we only have approximately 7% of all the time we'll ever spend with our immediate family left. And that statistic is not made up. When I think about that one, I feel that I maybe neglected the rooms that allowed me to say thank you, I appreciate you, and I love you to the people who I owe so much of my happiness to. My selfless friends, all three of my loving siblings, and especially my two loving parents. I'm not crying, you're crying. One room I'm not going to neglect is the one I'm standing in right now, and I don't think any of you should either. Look around at this packed auditorium, filled with people who are endlessly proud of your accomplishments. Close your eyes and feel all of the emotion that comes with being on the cusp of something new, even the bad ones or the emotions that might not have a name. Revel in the satisfaction of knowing that this is the room that we tirelessly worked 4 years to get to. So yes, education does open many doors for us students, but as we decide which door to use, it might be in our best interest to just pop a squat in the room we're in for a little bit and appreciate everything it has to offer us. I'm not arguing that we should go through our life indecisively, or that we should be lazy, or that we shouldn't chase our dreams. I'd simply like to say that maybe the best and most fulfilling progress first begins with standing still and digesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin, for your words of wisdom. These senior chamber chorus will now perform for good.
Mr. Bystrak and Mrs. Jarzik, please join me at the podium. Will the graduation class of 2018 please stand? Mrs. Jarzik, as principal of West Seneca East Senior High School, I present these graduates to you certifying that they have met all obligations and requirements for graduation set forth by the State of New York and the West Seneca Board of Education.
With the authority vested in me by the Board of Education of the West Seneca Central School District, I hereby declare you graduates of West Seneca East High School There's just a little more. With all the rights, honors, and privileges due to the holders of the diploma you are about to receive.
At this time, would the members of the class of 2018 please move your tassels from the left to the right, symbolizing your successful completion of this rite of passage. Graduates, please be seated. I would now like to welcome Mr. Ferrugia, who will announce the names of the graduates as they receive their diplomas from the board trustees and fellow administrators.
Haley Olenichek. Sydney Briggs. Tegan Shanahan. Catherine Dixon. Ryu Dorn. Devin Murphy. Michelle Lynn. Cassidy Aiken. Sierra Annunciata. Kaylee Bartnicki. Devin Chudzik. Evan Samara. Rebecca Frank. Hannah First. Danielle Herkel. Sam Holdsworth. Carly Krug. Vinny Lip. Noah Luthart. Paige Meidenbauer. Allison Moselle. Louis Orticelli. Congratulations, Brianna Roth. Whoops, I said congratulations. Sorry. I don't know. Sorry. Congratulations. Matthew Shaw. Congrats, Joe. Jillian Smith. Salvatore Sperazza. Michael Teddy. Salvatore Zagarigo. Renee Bujashevsky. Chloe Burns. Gabrielle Catlin. Morgan Delzer. Dylan Daneka. Sarah Eisenmenger. Christopher Fanger. Madeline Flanagan. Samantha Goronsky. Joshua Glaub. Nicholas Griffin. Jake Grzybinski. Michaela Hartung. Nicholas Jacobs. Samantha Kalinowski. Kelsey Kaufman. Jasmine Klump. Samantha Kamoitek. Cassandra Crable. Joseph Krasminski. Megan Landell. Elena Lanfear. Kelsa Larson. Philip Leach. Sarah Mazak. Kylie McLennan. Sarah Morey. Brianna Murphy. Griffin Murray. Tien Nguyen. Lindsay Oshai. Claire Powers. Michaela Rachel. Elizabeth Sorrow. Julie Schnerstein. Cameron Snyder. Kara Staba. Sarah Tracy. Amanda Weiner. Alexander Yunke. Catherine Zazula. Ali Abbas. Kaylin Altenberg. Parker Ball. Alexis Barker. Matthew Benequist. Cameron Bianchi. Chloe Black. Brendan Bobek. Miranda Bologna. Caitlin Bork. Devin Borowski. Jacob Boyd. Isabella Boyer. Samantha Boyle. Brianni Bradford. Erin Brown. Janelle Bruce. Spencer Bruno. Madison Berzicki. Molly Berzicki. Carl Burns. Jace Carpenter. Vincent Tsunami. Madison Cole. Amber Cole. Michaela Colvin. Tyler Courtney. Olivia Dearlove. Joseph DiMarzio. Maggie DeWitt. Zachary DeChocchio. Kyle Deeroff. Casey Dordkowski. Mary Edwards. Bridget Emerson. Kira Fair. Shannon Pfaff. Darren Fazio. Sean Fazio. Alexander Farrell. Madison Fix. Damon Flynn. Daniel Flynn. Madison Fultars. Anastasia Frank. Gabrielle Gajewski. Benjamin Gates. Tyler Gichkowski. Jacob Blom. Ryan Graves. Carly Gray. Nadia Gray. Clara Greenfield. Hannah Grew. Ryan Griffin. Michael Gugino Jr. Andrew Golsinski. Shannon. Maryam Hamida. Anthony Hapka. Nicole Harris. Madeline Hadaway. Noah Hoot. Congratulations, Justin Kresmian. Jacob Kresmian. Shelby Kreskonko. Mackenzie Kraus. Max Krakowiak. Madison Klimowitz. AJ Kazuski. Philomena Kern. Annalise Kelly. Alexander Jones. Joshua Jensen. Adam Janashevitz. Faith Jackson. They have little faces of it. That's awesome. Christopher Littluksa. Megan Lipinzik. James Lipinzik. Cole Lewis. Stephen Lewandowski. Mark Lapine. Kendra Lent. Christopher LaRussa. Domenico Lagambina. Jonathan LaFalce. Kayla Kazara. Caitlin Kazara. Nicole Cumro. Ira McKinney. Rebecca McElligott. Kyle McCubbin. Nathan Malerski. Jared Marino. Jacob Marino. Megan Matuziak. Daniel Martz. Hassan Marshall. Joshua Maloney. Miranda Machieski. Connor Luzak. Jenna Loomis. Justin Palowski. Austin Hawley. Tyler Halkowski. Ryan Orzik. Benjamin Odom. Sydney Nichols. Alana Nichols. Peyton Rose. Brandon Moore. Jason Milsom. Tristan Miller. Nicole Mikulski. Congratulations. Christian Rodriguez. Jared Rodams. Samantha Richter. Matthew Reinard. Alec Rachel. Gregory Radka. Alexander Printup. Matthew Pacelli. Sarah Pazinski. Rakaya Phillips. Trevor Hetko. Simone Perry. Matthew Perillo. Victoria Tarantola. Taylor Simkoviak. Adam Stratman. Erin Smith. Julia Slowick. Jacob Slumka. Taylor Slimak. Shear. Destiny Shear. Joshua Sheehan. Chandler Shaw. Natalie Schuster. Congratulations. Amanda Shack. Heather Rowland. Brittany Wodilla. Brendan Wilson. Sean Wiley. Wilford Whitney. Drew Werner. Andrew Weiner. Lauren Ward. Nathan Walker. Cassandra Wall. Ariana Wadsworth. Benjamin Vogt. Lauren Vogel. Gianna Yamarino. Bailey Whippior. Nicholas Wozniak. Tyler Wolf. Andrew Wolf. Andrew Waltz.
guys get hit? You get hit with a hat, did you? You didn't get hit, did you? I would like to acknowledge the fine performances of our chamber chorus under the direction of Mr. Ferrugia. And the East Senior Orchestra under the direction of Mrs. Charlene Brooks. I would also like to thank my fellow administrators, Mrs. Mary Beth Sweeney, Mr. Paul Renzoni, and our senior clerk, Mrs. Hawley, for organizing this event tonight. Well, as we conclude our program, we appreciate the audience remaining seated and in place during our recessional. Your children will meet you out in the front lobby. Thank you all for being here. Drive safely. Congratulations, class of 2018.